Today I am with our family friend, Mr. Tom Burke, to talk about his massive wrestling collection. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Michael. Thank you for coming on this beautiful summer day.
What would you like to share with us?
Well, this is part 3 of my collection, and you're being the videographer, producer, and director of this. I sincerely appreciate your taking time from your busy summer schedule and getting up early in the morning to come over and share the collection with the viewers of YouTube and Facebook. Okay, what I thought we would do today, Michael, is to concentrate on one specific part of my collection and then venture into some other areas. What I would like to do is discuss this gentleman here, Jack Pfeffer, one of the greatest wrestling promoters and characters in the sport of wrestling. Active in wrestling from the 1920s right up to about the 1967, 68 is when he kind of stepped back because of illness. Anyways, he was the Vince McMahon of his day. He had these crazy guys, crazy gimmicks and everything. And just to share with you some of his publicity stuff he would have, and he had the incredible Lady Angel. She also wrestled as Yuli Brenner. She was a girl wrestler who was bald. Mike, I think you're getting a little bald up there on top. But anyways, Michael, yeah, this was one of his guys, one of the gals he had, and he also had another girl wrestler who was Daisy May, the wrestling hillbilly, and she was part of his clan. There were others. Probably the most famous girl wrestler he had was the Fabulous Moolah, who was Slave Girl Moolah. Matter of fact, it was Jack Pfeffer who gave her the name Moolah. And the other wrestler who started with him in the 50s was Ricky Starr. Ricky Starr, a famous wrestler who is now living in England. And sad to say, Ricky Starr has been, shall we say, he got involved with a group who has as his philosophy is to forget your past, only think of the present and future. So he has nothing to do with anything in regards to wrestling at all, sad to say. Doing Jack Pfeffer's wrestling programs. And this is from Toledo, Ohio, about in 1951. And we have the Wild Jungle Boy, Tony Olivas, a.k.a. the Elephant Boy, was one of his guys. The Great Toto, Lone Eagle, and his valet, Princess Bonita. And there's the exotic Lillian Ellison before she became Moolah, as well as quite a few others there. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was with him at that time, Hillbilly Spunky. And that was one of my favorite characters. And if you venture over here, Michael, pan the camera here, we'll see Jack Pfeffer. Let me just close this door here so we can get a good picture of Jack. We got Jack here with some of his wrestlers in his office back in the 1930s. There it is, he's right there. As well as one of my prized possessions in my collection is a loving cup that was given to Jack Pfeffer by his partner, Tony Santos. And it reads here, if I can give it the reading here. With gratitude and love, Tony, to Jack Pfeffer. That's one of my favorite items in my collection, my friend. And we have So Jack Pfeffer, to me, was one of probably the most intriguing people in the business. He broke up the wrestling trust back in the 1930s after he got screwed in with the Goldust trio, Tusmont, Dusick, and the rest. And he ended up starting his own promotion. He always had a lot of anger in him about these guys, and he went on and he ended up promoting against them wherever he could. However, even in his day, he still had a great love for the business and the boys in the business. Lou Thez was telling me that when Lou was visiting Ed Strangler Lewis, his mentor, at the Veterans Hospital in, I believe it was in Tulsa or Oklahoma City, as he was walking out the door, walking down the hall, who comes forward was Jack Pfeffer. And Jack greeted Lou, Lou greeted Jack, and Jack says, "I've come to see the old man." He had that much of a love for Ed Strangler Lewis. And so even though a lot of people say Jack hurt the business, might have hurt the business, but he also grew the business, because he gave the business characters we would have never seen, which of course transgressed from those 1930s and 40s into the modern era today with the angels, the big guys, the girl wrestlers, and everything. So he was definitely one of my longtime favorite characters in wrestling, Jack Pfeffer. He started off as a in the musical business with opera, and had a troupe of them, and ended up coming to the United States via Japan back in 1920, and went to Mexico, and then he somehow got involved in wrestling, and that was it. He fell in love with the business, and when he used to stay at the Piccadilly Hotel on West 45th Street in New York City, he always stayed in room 416. So whenever I was in New York and I would stay at the Piccadilly, I would always try to get room 416, because that was the room Jack Pfeffer stayed in. I could feel his presence and awe in that room, because he was the best man. Nobody else like Jack Pfeffer. Anyways, that's part of my collection of Jack Pfeffer. I have other items here which I'd like to show you in regards to Jack here. When he did wrestle, this is a little thing. He had the angels. He had the golden angel, the Swedish angel, the super Swedish angel, and the Colorado angel. He had a host of angels, and he's with the angels now. And he's probably booking up there. Anyways, so that's Jack Pfeffer. That's my collection on Jack Pfeffer. Just a small portion of it, but I just wanted to share that with you. And I would like to also share at this time other mementos in my own collection that are special to me. One item here that I secured a while back is a belt buckle. This belt buckle here, I'm going to put it on here so we get a better look at it, Michael. This is from 1934. This belt buckle is from the Friars Club for the city championship. Now the Friars Club had 3 clubs: New York, Chicago, and Hollywood. I've contacted the club to get verification and find out what the status was, and sad to say no one has ever contacted me back. But that's one of my other mementos. The other belt buckle I have is the 135 Connecticut State Championship. Now this was won by Adam Horshak. He was a champion from 1932 to 1934. Now Adam Horshak was another character. He was a wrestler and he was a promoter. And he used to run shows here in the Springfield area, as well as in other areas in Massachusetts and other points in New England. And he would run ads, and he would call it semi-professional wrestling, which parallels what we have today, because many of the independents today are just that, they're semi-pros. In other words, that they don't make their living full-time off wrestling, only part-time. So that's it. those are some of the collectibles, and I just like to share that with you. Thank you, Michael, for coming over again.